Holy crap! We're back. I'm not open with cuss words today because we're on a very special topic today with Quantum and Woody and a little bit of a throwback with Kevin Vanhook later in the show. But welcome everybody to Valiant TLDR, the ultimate deep dive into the history, creators, behind the scenes, and stories of Valiant comics. Join myself, I'm an OG Valiant fan, Mr. Jason Richardson, aka Southern Comic Geek, who's been riding the Valiant wave since day one, and Newell Turner, aka Stingray, the fresh set of eyes, not for this one because I'm actually the fresh set of eyes today for Quantum, for discovering this universe for the very first time. So we're bringing you in-depth reviews, unboxings, exclusive creator interviews, as we explore the past, present, and future of beloved Valiant universe. What's up, fellas? I missed you guys, man.
Well, quit traveling so much and being sick and things.
Oh my god! So yeah, the guys know this already, but I've been sick the whole week. I literally woke up Monday morning and I'm like, what the heck's going on? I thought like allergies was kind of crazy. I went to like a family gathering. I guess this year we decided to do something earlier. And hopefully I didn't spread it because no one else is sick so far. But
so far,
Tuesday morning, I woke up and I was just like, I can't get up. So I canceled all my last day of meetings. And
they make a pill for that.
I literally just got a meeting. I got out of bed like 2 hours ago.
Oh man.
Yeah. I've been in bed this whole time. How about you guys, fellas? How's the holidays? Because this is our kind of year-end special. It's December 26th. We've all had our celebration. So let's do a quick share and catch up before we dive into our topic of conversation today.
That's all been good. I've been trying to pick up the mantle of pushing art onto Newell by finding pages and trying to get him to find some new page somewhere. Since Carl was down and sick, somebody had to do it. Had to be the the art pusher.
That's right. Yeah, but you also were trying to help me find Stingray pages, so that was cool.
Yeah, there is that. Well, and speaking of Valiant, I'm actually going to be on the CAF channel next Tuesday, and so
right.
They're going to be spoiler alert, but there's going to be some Valiant art that's going to be in there.
And with a really great thumbnail with all three of us.
Jason, you're attached to us too forever.
I thought he was going to kind of crop it out, be like a headshot, because that was the one that I had the closest access to when he emailed me. And
I think it's better like that. But everybody's going to think it's a Carl show because it's we're doing his branding.
Right.
I like it. I think it's our version of Quantum and Woody. Instead of doing wrist, we do triple X, and then we do
we clang.
Who's the goat?
Our powers.
I'll be the goat.
Okay, there you go. Did you bring the goat with you, Newell, for the show?
I used to own. They made back in the 90s. They made it was like this big, a little PVC, goat figure. I had it. I actually found it. I found the listing in Diamond, the magazine that they put out the catalog, and I got the owner of my comic shop to special order one for me so I could have it. And I haven't seen that thing in years. I don't know where it is, so I don't have it with me. I apologize.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's funny because, it's been a bit of a journey getting up to this. We've gone through the whole, VH1, almost all of it. And,
we didn't quite make it through all of it, but we got most of it.
Most of it. We got most of it. And we could probably touch on some of the other stuff later, but I think this has come up over and over again. And I felt like every time Quantum and Woody came up, Newell's always kind of like, oh, I can't wait till Carl gets to read it. And
yes, I actually read this one back in the day, so like I did kind of like how you guys read all the other stuff back in the day, right? So I get to be like, yeah, this is really good. And then you're like, oh man, I read this part. It was so good. I was like, I know, I read it.
So what happened? Like before we dive into it, Jason, do you remember any reason as to why I would have missed it? Is it because just the timing of it all or when it came in? Because I felt like I was reading all the Valiant stuff, but I literally just went way over my head.
Yes, I mean, Quantum and Woody didn't come out until the relaunch, right? So it's a part of the VH2, and it's an Acclaim original character. So I figure it's just timing, right? Because it's like what 96, 97 when this came out.
I'm thinking 97, yeah.
Yeah. So I know that it became increasingly hard for me and my comic shop locally shut down than to read the acclaim titles because it's just access, right? Because they weren't showing up on the newsstands by and large. So probably just timing.
Yeah, no. Do you remember this cover when it came out? Was this like the cover that caught you?
Yep. I think so. I think that I don't remember how I started reading this. I don't know if it was something that I just saw on the shelves or what, but the big draw on this for me was I started reading it because of Christopher Priest, because his run on Black Panther and Deadpool were so good that I decided that I needed to read this, because I like, one of the things that Priest does really, really well is humor, and this was being kind of sold as a funny comic, a buddy cop kind of thing almost, but with superheroes, and I that sounded awesome to me, and it turned out to be really, really good.
Yeah, it was quite silly. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, but it was freaking hilarious. I mean, I just like the way it's written overall. I mean, I guess maybe we could start with just what it's about.
Look at the title on the cover there. Look what it says above it: the world's worst superhero team. Right? They know what they're on about.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, I think it also plays on to like the '90s so well, where often, I don't know. I guess I think of it like Key and Peele, a lot of those skits that they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like the way it's written, it's like broken down into like chapters of skits, and they all kind of interconnect. And they do that in modern TV a lot these days. But man, I think this was like way ahead of its time. Yo, Derek and Tom, what's up, guys? CJ, what's up?
They also do the Priest, just the way he writes, and he did this in Black Panther as well, right? Where he kind of jumps around in time a lot, like almost like a Tarantino movie, right?
Yeah, I like that, and that's kind of what was really interesting. At the beginning, it was kind of hard to track, but after a while, you definitely get used to the cadence of it.
Yeah, if you're not expecting it, it can be a little bit challenging. But then you start reading more of the story, and you start being able to piece it together. And there are certain scenes that they kind of go back to more than once, and so it becomes easier.
Yeah, well, in the podcast that we listened to with Jim Shooter, he brought up Quantum and Woody. That when Dinesh hired him initially to try to kind of piece things together for the new relaunch of the universe, that he's like, well, it was a great concept, but it's all out of order. And so I don't think Shooter was a big fan of how Priest writes. And so to your point, I think it just depends on the deal. Yeah, so comic book school, yeah.
Mr. Buddy Blair.
Yeah. And you showed this cover here too. So this is the B cover. Now think of in this day and age, if somebody's collecting comics, this nothing to have a number one have 20 different covers, right? But this book had two, and that was kind of a new thing for Valiant because there were some like comic defense one-offs, but the covers were the same. There was just like an emblem on there. So by and large, like this was a new vibe for Valiant to even have two covers. Think of a world where that existed, right?
Man, I'll say this. Looking at both covers, though, I could even imagine myself walking into a comic book store and not knowing this was the Valiant comic that I'm so used to, because by design, it's so different.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting the logo that they put on there says Acclaim Comics and Valiant Heroes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that until I was rereading these. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Letting you know that they're, it's Acclaim, but they're doing, the Valiant characters, even though these guys are not Valiant, original OG Valiant characters, right?
Yeah, so Acclaim had several different imprints. So they had the Valiant Heroes, which is what this is a part of. Then they had some creator-owned stuff. So Valeria, the She-Bat, which was a Neil Adams property, he did really? Woody Comics, but there's actually two issues where she's printed in Acclaim. So and then the Bob Hall story. I'll think of it in a minute. But it's kind of a side thing, you know. So they were trying to get into some different stuff. Sliders was a licensed property that if y'all remember the TV show,
Yeah.
Yep. I love Sliders.
That they did. Magic the Gathering first appeared in a comic book by Acclaim,
Yep.
But it was not part of the Heroes universe.
Right. Was that? Do you know offhand, Jason? Were those the ones? I know there were some Magic comics back in the day that had covers by Mike Kaluta. Do you know if those were the Acclaim ones by chance?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those were cool.
Yep.
So I mean, the number one issue also starts wacky in itself. They're basically mobilizing a dead dog as teenagers, and it's kind of like, what the hell? And it's fun because in a way it's unexpected because the cover had them dressed up as superheroes, but their origin story really starts from a very wacky place of them interacting as kids.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I liked about this book too. Is it's not just about them being superheroes. It's like their whole lives and how they got to that point. And Priest does a really good job of bouncing back and forth and showing different points in their life and how those kind of made them into the men that they are now. So there's a lot of actual character building, and the story's a lot more character driven than you would expect.
Yes, I mean, I would say 90% character driven because I don't know, in the 10 issues that I read, there was maybe only 10% of superheroing because most of it is really them.
Right, they didn't have like a major villain that they were fighting throughout the whole time frame, or anything like that. It was more about them and just them trying to deal with each other, basically.
Yeah.
So what's up, Tim? Tim, the comic book collector. So Derek answered Tom's question, and Comic Book School says Magic the Gathering was the first original art they purchased. So
nice,
pretty dope.
Tom, this is MD Bright, Mark Bright.
Yep,
love that.
Drew one of the best covers ever, the Shockwave cover from Transformers. Green Lantern had a big run on it. So, yep.
So today we're not going to go play by play on the pages like we usually do because we're about 40 minutes before our esteemed guest, Mr. Kevin Vanhook, joins us. But we should blast through it and just kind of highlight some of the story points. I really like these little titles, and it kind of breaks up the storytelling into, like I mentioned, like almost like Key and Peele skits. There's like little moments in their lives that you're capturing at different times. You're seeing them interact in different ways, and you actually start caring about them because you start learning about who they are as human beings and characters. And I just love the whole honesty of it all. It's not kind of to be too much,
Yeah. Well, and I like them because they're just chapter headers, and it kind of like is a good indicator of like when you might be jumping around in time or something, rather than just turning the page and being totally lost. They didn't have to do, like some comics will do like different panel borders or something, or wavy lines or different colors to kind of indicate that you're in a flashback or something like this. But they jump around in time so much in this book for the storytelling that it just makes sense that here's a clear indicator. Here's a chapter header title type thing to let you know that we're moving on to a separate little skit or vignette, like you were saying.
Yeah, like Moon Knight took a page out of this. It reveals at the end where the narration is from them talking to their therapist, and I felt like it's a really fun perspective.
And that last page with the big clang is really nice. That'd be a cool one to have.
I love that. That'd be a great page.
Yeah, so a couple of things changed going into the new era. Like in the old one, their dads died, so they're versus, and then so in the new one, like he's basically adopted by the other one's dad, so they kind of blurred things a little.
Sorry, guys. Let me get back. I don't know where I am right now. Where did I go? Let's see.
I don't know. There you go.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Back. Issue 2. All right. You were saying, Jason?
Well, no, I was just saying that they changed the origin story a little bit, but basically held true to it. There wasn't actually a lot of changes other than, them being raised together as friends, where their dads were partners, whereas he's actually adopted by Woody's dad in the new stuff. Um, but yeah, so um, but they kept the goat and all that other kind of thing. Now, I don't know if Christopher Priest is a big music guy, but there are you can catch a lot of references to like rock groups and things like that in this deal. And there's also a lot of Easter eggs. The main one being from the first issue, the guy that turns on the power machine that ends up giving them all the powers. His name is Warrant, like the rock group. So that's like the first
guy, Warren. Oh yeah, and he plays a role later in the story as well, right? Because you kind of wonder, oh, is he the villain? But it's a big question mark as to his role in all this.
And they have to clang. They find out that if they don't clang the bands together, which the band's look changed a little bit in VEI, but they don't clang within 24-hour period, they start dissolving. So they're kind of forced to work together despite like their totally different way of looking at things.
Because while they were ready to be done with each other and split up, but now they're forced to be together.
Yeah, because when the show starts out with them relatively young, and he's always Woody's always getting Quantum into trouble, but they kind of split apart. Now it shows later why he gets taken away, but it gets accused that he was racist or whatever he said, the N word. But it actually
Noogie,
that's in here. But yeah, so they become the improbable, forced to be together heroes because of the bands.
Now this right here. Yeah, this whole issue they focus on this one part where they're climbing up the side of the building, and it was like one big homage to Adam West Batman.
So good, I love it. This show is awesome.
And Woody complaining the whole time, like, why didn't we just take the elevator, or why didn't we just take the stairs?
Yeah, the whole issue was built on that. I thought it was hilarious. And this one also shows a lot of their personality because. Okay, it's kind of what Jason was saying earlier. Here's a little kind of throwback as to how they disappear if they don't clang their bands together. Band, clang. And it cuts back. Now, the issues pass by pretty quickly, actually. They're really fun. Oh, here, Noogie, exactly.
Well, that's issue 4. But there's the goat. I love the goat. The goat's one of my favorite parts.
Wait, did I skip to issue? Oh, you know what's happening? I think what's happening is because I've read them, is bring me to the last page of each issue. I click next. So issue 3 to go. So this is the goat. Where the heck did the goat come from? It's so random. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, and the goat stands for something. It's kind of like MODOK. It's an acronym for something.
Well, it's greatest of all time right now, but I guess they got the goat before the millennials got the goat.
Yeah. Well, I know at one point they give him the name and it's Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. I really like this part where Quantum, basically they're exiting the building. He does this crazy fancy sequence of shots to get
and then he
landed
in the car for 5 panels. And then when he walks out the door.
Yeah. When he sits in, he's like, what? He just looks up, he's like, what? That's hilarious. Oh, here's a goat.
But the whole thing is he's trying to get these monks. They took a vow of silence, and he's trying to get them to talk by threatening to kill the goat. It's that panel with the gun to the goat's head. I love it.
Yeah, this is very, very Lethal Weapon, meets Nice Guys kind of thing.
Yeah.
If I was to compare it to kind of modern day movies. Did this ever get into any conversations about feature films or anything like that? I don't know. I didn't
Yeah,
look into it.
the Russo brothers.
Really?
Back in, let's see, was it 08 or 12?
Wow.
Very early on, started talking about there being either a TV show or a movie of it. So,
Wow.
Oh man, they'd be perfect for that too.
Oh, that'd be so good. I mean, they're too busy making billions, making Avengers. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'd have the snappy dialogue and everything, like Arrested Development.
yeah.
Yeah, they would have been perfect.
yeah. What issue is it that they explain the code speak, Newell?
Issue 4.
Four.
Issue
Yeah, let me pull it up. I should
I
have
mean,
reset.
the noogie.
Yeah.
The noogie. All right, here goes. So this issue was it controversial when it came out, or was it just a fun little tidbit that everyone knew about?
I don't really know. I didn't know anybody that was reading this at the time.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So we get this little, like meta explanation of how they're going to use noogie in place of the actual N word in the issue. Kind of breaking the fourth wall to let us know this stuff.
I loved it. This is awesome. This is like
But inadvertently, did you find, like, if you're reading this, did you find it hard to not say that word? Like, did that word, did noogie apply into your mind, or did the other word?
I think this got me. Well, I mean, you know what they're talking about, and they make a point about that here, right? Like, where is it? I forget, but I think Woody says something in this little intro here about, like, we're going to use the word noogie, but we all know what the word is, and I know you're going to, if you think that in your own head, like, that's on you,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, Buddy said Priest's writing at this time changed the way comic books were written. He made good use of chapter and scene breaks. I agree. It's really special. Yeah, this was one of my favorites because I thought, I don't know, like, even more applicable today. I feel like something like this is very Deadpool-ish, like, except in the context of Deadpool, they wouldn't be going into the whole kind of the comedy surrounding kind of racial divide and all that kind of stuff.
So Priest wrote Deadpool for a while too, right?
Oh, he did? I didn't know that. That's funny.
So Priest's Deadpool was really interesting because he basically, they described it as being Seinfeld with supervillains. It was about nothing. And basically Deadpool, he moved in and was roommates with the Constrictor. And I think Titania was a regular in the series, and there's a couple of others, and it was like them going on jobs and doing supervillainy kind of stuff. And it was kind of goofy because, like, it was just like them getting on each other's nerves because, like, oh, you drank all of my OJ or something, like that kind of thing. It was weird, but it was pretty funny.
I could totally see that then. I mean, you look at Woody, there's a lot of Woody that Deadpool emits in modern day Deadpool, at least, So they probably did writing.
Well, yeah, the whole fourth wall breaking thing happens a lot. And if you go back to the first page, Carl, when the Mustang pulls up, you notice the tag?
2FST for you.
So you remember a certain other hero team that was always late again?
Is it Harbinger?
Yeah. So their tag's late again. And this was 2 kind of the opposite.
That's cool.
But if you go to the you had scrolled past it, you notice the Ninjak makes a cameo appearance in this one. The new,
well, a cosplayer.
Yeah, right. And he's laughing at him,
Yeah, Woody's laughing at the Ninjak.
Do the karate.
Yeah, but they make a great joke there, A-word hole, because they go in on the beginning how they can't say the A-word. It's one of the words they can't say.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, which makes it additionally funny. But But yeah, then if you notice again, the going to the music, Woody's all the time rocking out and musical references in there.
Yeah, Woody's kind of relationship with music is a big part of this whole thing. He always does guitar, playing. Later, he'll even stand out one day, kind of find himself in another situation, and the music plays a part into it.
So then, like here we go, Noogie and a cape. So
I love that. That's like stuff like that remind me of Key and Peele, like their skits.
Yeah. Well, and then I think go to the next page. I think it's like, yeah. He's like, stop calling me that. He's like, calling you what, Noogie? And he's like, how do you know I'm black? He goes, you're black.
Then it says S word.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Right. And then, Woody comes up and he's talking to him, like they get it, right? They get along.
Yeah. He's calling him the N-word.
Right.
It's hilarious.
Yes, more affectionate use of the word.
Yes.
And so on the next page it says, Woody, is that really necessary for you to use that word?
So funny.
To Noogie with love. So yeah, he accidentally clangs his deal, and then Woody Quantum disappears. And the whole name Woody, there's some kind of like tongue-in-cheek jokes throughout this that, oh, you got a Woody. It's for its time for sure.
Well, with great power comes great Woody. So. All right, I have to fix this again. We're at 5 now, right?
Yep.
You mentioned the reference to Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. Oh, Lethal Weapons. That's hilarious. Total throwback. I missed that the first time around.
Carl doesn't actually read. He just looks at the pictures.
For the most part. It's been a few weeks. Report target acquired.
Yeah, so that's when they're like in a mission and they're doing like undercover work and stuff like that.
And it's kind of there's no context, right? They just kind of throw you right into it.
Right.
That's right.
Well, and we find out why. I mean, yeah, there's the big bad guy. And then Quantum jumps in to save the day.
Very
that's a great.
Yeah, that's a great splash. Whoever has that. Is that a lot of this art floating around? I don't know. I haven't looked yet. I
know Anthony had a splash from a later issue earlier in the year that I was tempted to try to pick up. Or no. I think it was on Heritage, but didn't end up getting it.
Hey, Kenneth. Welcome to our year-end special, Valiant TLDR.
So basically, Quantum wakes up and realizes that whole first section was just a dream.
Huh.
Because, Woody made him fall off the building when he figured out that his band could do other stuff. And he was hanging by his cape.
Well, apparently, their powers are not truly fully explained. I feel like throughout the 10 issues, it's
right. Well, they didn't figure out until this 5th issue that they could shoot laser beams.
The discovery of their powers, which I really love too. You're kind of on that ride with them,
right? But so this one is fun because right here, the kid there calls him Quantum instead of Eric, and he's like, "What did you just call me?" He goes, "I called you Quantum." He's like, "That's what I thought." And like nobody had been trying to like. He felt like nobody was taking the superhero stuff seriously. Nobody was taking him seriously. Woody kept making fun of him, told him that the name Quantum was dumb, and he just kept calling him by his first name. And now, this kid calls him Quantum, so he feels like maybe he's starting to get a little bit of respect, and he Batman's out of there.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Batman. I am. So funny.
And talk about Batman. I mean that cape, the way that cape flows is like very Spawn Batman-esque.
For sure. They're definitely playing on the whole kind of 90s Batman.
Well, it's funny because at one point, Quantum even says like every part of my costume, including the cape, has a tactical functionality or something like that. Because as we all know from The Incredibles, capes are dangerous.
Yeah.
Right.
And then here at the end, Woody calls him Quantum. He's like, "What did you call me?" He goes, "Quantum," and he says, "Yes, I am."
so serious and so proud.
Right, but that's kind of that's what makes him the whole buddy cop thing, right? The silly one and the serious one.
Oh, here goes. Here's
cover.
Yeah.
Of course, that's an homage to a Fantastic Four cover. I forget the issue number.
Oh,
yeah. So Acclaim during this time did homages. Every one of Bloodshot's was a Steranko homage. They were all
they did?
Some Marvel one. Yeah, this one right here I actually got signed by Christopher Priest right here.
Oh, nice.
Let me throw it up real quick. Jason. Let's see. How did I bring you up there again? My God, I'm so rusty at this. There we go. Show again.
Yep, right there.
Bam. Oh, nice.
So he Christopher Priest changed his name. So he was
was
it James Owsley? No,
Owlsley, like the bird.
Yeah. And
Owlsley?
so the last issue of Power Man Iron Fist, he wrote, and when I got him to sign it, he actually signed it, James Owsley.
Oh wow!
For I'm not sure as to why, but yeah. But I mean that's what was on the book.
Does anyone know why he changed his name? It's so strange. I think he had a great name.
Before he was a writer, wasn't he an editor at Marvel for a while or something like that?
Yeah, it seems like he did have some other stuff.
Yeah, maybe he just changed it for writing, like a pen name or something.
Makes sense. Matlock with a D. Oh, this is cool. This is where he goes and digs through the closet, and then he finds the other band because he couldn't find Woody, right? He was looking for him. And then he clang it, and he goes, "Beep." This guy comes up. Mr. Warren is not dead. And this Global Comics need to work on their
you get what you pay for, man.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like, so oh, that's funny. This one is a funny issue. So you're kind of just thrown into this like character, some giant squirrel, like a Chuck E. Cheese. And in the 90s, Chuck E. Cheese was like the ish. It brings you right back to Warren, this guy who shows up.
The bad
guy. Is he a bad guy?
Well, he's arguably like the villain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at that guy. You can't have glowy purple energy for hair and not be a bad guy.
That's true. He looks like a Kuma from Street Fighter.
A little bit,
yeah. He got double bands, so does it make him double the powerful? Flies off naked. Yeah, so I guess this is kind of one of the first kind of face off with this guy Warren, and then you're still looking for
the mascot.
Yeah, turns out he's been around the whole time, just as his part-time job, right? Trying to make a living.
Yep.
Yeah, the goat was eating paper in the back. The goat just has like these random pictures until he's part of their rescue. Well, past where we read, but
Yeah, when the goat gets powers.
yeah.
I have a page from one of the later issues where the goat's actually flying.
So this is the a spread towards the end of that issue right there, Carl. But so Vincent, we're introduced to this is Vincent Van Gogh, or is it Hades, which stands for Heavily Armored Espionage Deadly Uber Chic? And so that's the acronym.
Is that issue 7 or issue 8?
This is issue 7.
7, okay, at the end.
Yeah. So this is a little poster, which is part of one issue, one later issue, but it talks about funny versus not funny. Again, they didn't mind calling everybody out. Funny, Giffen's Justice League. Not funny, Morrison's Justice League. The goat is funny. Lockjaw is not funny. Gru is funny, but Peter David is not funny, though he looks like Gru. I mean, they literally call Peter David. Wow,
they're just like going for it.
Quantum and Woody number 4 is funny, but Quantum and Woody number 5 is not funny. Mark Wade's Impulse, which there's several times that they kind of poke and jab at Mark Wade through these issues. Wade's Impulse, not funny. $90 for 12 new KC pages. Let's see. VH1 Magnus is not funny. The guy's in a skirt. Power Man and Iron Fist, funny. Because remember, again, that Priest wrote it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Not funny. Heroes for Hire, which was the 90s version, that happened after.
That was not good. That was not good.
Funny, Troublemakers, which was another VH2 title. Not funny, Speedball. So, again, they didn't mind calling people out.
That's pretty funny. I love that. Yeah, we need more of this kind of. You know what's funny though? Like, what's cool about everything he said there is it shows that he was also reading other people's comics. I feel like, like writers in comics today, like there's probably like a handful of them that are well read enough to even provide commentary in such a way. I just don't feel like writers are as well written.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say a lot of writers kind of have this thing where they don't, like you can't pitch things to them. You can't give them ideas. They'll tell you like, please don't tell me your ideas. I don't want to hear it because then if I ever do anything that's even remotely like that, you'll try to sue me or whatever. And, a lot of writers will say like, oh, I don't want to read other comics because I don't want to accidentally like even unconsciously potentially copy other people's ideas or whatever. They want to focus in on their own thing and trying to be original and whatever. But then like you have this issue where they're again parodying Batman.
Yeah.
More from the TV show. But
I love this. Like this Flash would be like one I want to own.
That cover was really good too with the Woody signal.
Is that the Woody symbol or is this Wu-Tang? I mean, what's going on, man?
That's hilarious.
It's on the back of his jacket, right? So maybe both.
Yeah.
But to Newell's deal there, parodying, he has the little statue that they have to answer, and he pushes the red button on the bat phone, and they turn into, going through the deal. Of course, again, Mark Wade as the woodchuck. The Tamitha and Underwood and Latrice Dale as the lesbians. Again, so yeah, they're off, and this is Woody trying to market them, which Quantum is not too fond of.
So going on a mission. This is a very Batman missional issue. They're actually I mean, this will be probably one of the most action-oriented them in a superhero scenario issue.
Yeah. And Woody's actually doing some superhero stuff. Which that's a joke in and of itself, right? Because like he was the one that wanted them to be superheroes in the first place, and he's just like, okay, well, I'm not wearing a mask, and my name is just Woody.
Oh yeah, and something crazy happens at the end of this one where he actually does like a heroic thing. He pushes them out of the van, and then he explodes into it. And next is Woody no more.
Yeah, he's trying to get away from the deal, and he's doing the little theme, da 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 da. So as he's going, then he stops for salted pretzels along the way. Just, and then of course he does the superhero thing of sacrificing himself, supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah. Oh, so bad. Let's see. That was issue 8 and 9.
Yep.
I hate these kids. Oh yeah, they introduced this group in this issue.
Yeah,
Troublemaker. Look at the names on the cover there.
The art was a little different in this issue too.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You look at the names, but I see Maleev. Did he work on this one?
Yeah,
Alex Maleev.
Yeah,
looks like it. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, no wonder the art was like so different. And I didn't really pay attention to who drew it, but maybe it's Maleev then. It's crazy.
Yeah, Troublemakers, of course, was another one of the titles, and had these teens with these powers, and the whole teen sex issue was the controversial one of the day.
This is it, right? Is it the controversial one?
No. In Troublemakers, in their title, they had the whole teen sex issue. Yeah.
And so they were another Acclaim original thing, right?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's down and dirty. I mean, this girl's like a prostitute and stuff, and he's visiting her. I mean, it's crazy. And this girl's like on drugs, trying to get out. And then this guy on the bottom right, he's like a wacky brainiac type character.
Oh, that page.
Ooh, what a great page here.
Yeah, so Alex Maleev was the inker. So,
Okay,
and Kevin Kobasek was the guest penciler for this one.
Not a name I'm familiar with, but I kind of dig it.
Too. It's nice. It's a little darker and almost appropriate for the story. All right, this is the first appearance of the Troublemakers. What happened to the Troublemakers? Did they actually kind of survive the whole Acclaim era, or did they just kind of faded away?
Faded away. Thank the Lord.
I mean, they're basically a harbinger, It's like they're like a dirty street level harbinger, I guess.
Just less interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you got Troublemakers. Trinity Angels was another one of those just weird series. But
and then this is interesting because they had to save. They're basically responsible for saving Woody by kind of transitioning him to energy and bringing him back, and then at the end something happens.
Yeah, his girlfriend.
Right.
So his girlfriend was a whore or a hooker, whatever. She gets killed, and this kind of leads him on this chase of going after these guys.
Yep. And then basically something does happen, but they don't know exactly what. And then we don't know until the next issue what happens, which is very interesting. Because what happens is on issue 10, which is the last issue that we'll go over today, you're completely thrown out because it opens with Woody in Quantum's costume and Eric in Woody's costume.
This is where they're switched. So
Yep. They switched. Yeah, they got switched. And so that's what happened, right? In saving Woody, it made them switch bodies.
yeah, I think that's how they explained it away. But they just kind of showed up as in the other, which leads to an interesting issue.
Yeah.
I love that the Quantum as Woody leaves the hair out. I think that's great.
Yeah. And then so they got to keep each other their own costume, even though they're in the different body now.
Yeah.
And so Woody decides to take advantage of his new ethnicity and add some dreads.
It's pretty funny. And it's funny because it's like now, the writing, the words that are typically coming out of Woody's mouth is coming out of, Quantum's body. And it's pretty funny.
I think it's also interesting. You see there in that middle panel on the right-hand side, he's not my boyfriend. Like, that's a running gag in this, how they're not a couple.
Yeah, we're not a couple kind of thing. Yeah, that's the running gag.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, you're not moving.
Yeah, I'm frozen. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it's a running joke that, and then going, well, it's a few pages over the bathroom scene.
Mm.
Oh yeah, the bathroom scene is like the highlight of this issue for sure, because they basically don't want to, touch each other's thing.
Oh, yeah.
So they decided they gotta hold each other while they pee. And the guy walks in on them, huh? We're not a couple. That's their response again.
It's like, you touched him. It's like I'm wearing gloves.
Yeah, so. Hilarious. So, yeah, I'm wearing gloves. Touched him. Goes back to music again. Why? Master volume.
Yeah, the hair club management.
Got the dreads. And so on. Yeah, what's fun about this book is you could jump in any issue and it'd be entertaining in itself. You might, kind of wonder, what happened before and after, but it's very readable because each of these little chapters are like snippets in their adventure.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's issues 1 through 10. So what do I miss with, not reading the rest of this? If you guys don't mind giving me a quick, or the audience is a quick recap of what happens from kind of 11 and on. Does it get better? Does it get worse? More of the same?
I think it kind of is the same-ish. You know what I mean? Like it's been a long time since I read all of these. I remember enjoying pretty much the whole thing because it goes up to like 32, I think, or something like that. And I seem to recall like there was a break. And there was a period where it ran up to a certain point, and then like the last couple issues didn't come out until a couple of years later or something like that. I can't remember exactly how that worked, but yeah, I remember enjoying pretty much the whole thing. I don't think that there were any like bad issues or anything like that.
Yeah, I thought I did a really good job, and so they extended it into Goat had its own book too, or what was that?
What said that was issue 24, but then it said it was the title says it's a special. I don't remember what that was about. Now I know that they made a couple of years ago. They did an omnibus that had pretty much the whole thing. Oh, hey Carl, I think you have to let Jason back in.
Oh, we lost Jason. There he is.
Okay. Yeah, so it got canceled at 17.
Okay.
And so at the end of the issue, Woody gets a call and he says, and Quantum goes, "What is it?" And he says, "Worse than that, we got canceled." And so they say it at the end of the issue.
That's pretty.
Now the Goat was part, like after issue. The Goat was part of like in between one of the issues, like 12 or 13. It was somewhere in there as far as continuity goes. So what Newell was saying, they started back with 32, and then after they did that, which was a tie-in to a series that was going, or a crossover that was going on, and then they went back and started numbering them again in sequential order.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, they
so,
stuck it out, huh? Priest and Bright kind of stuck it out throughout.
Yeah. Well, even when Dinesh relaunched it, where it's the return of Quantum and Woody, Priest comes back, and so does.
Oh, I don't think I read any of that.
Yeah. So if
we go back on Pearl, go back. That page on the right, I own that page.
This one?
Yeah.
This is a great page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got that one off of Heritage for like $50.
Dude, congrats. What a great page.
The goat. The goat's just diving into the deal.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I got that one in like 2016, I think.
I'm going to start looking for these. I just want a nice splash of them too.
Yeah, so it kind of with the return of when Dinesh had the Quantum and Woody return, you get the same vibe and stuff because they're same artist and writer. But then they had the other one where they relaunched it, different artists and different writers start doing it.
Yeah.
And I think the last one that they did was kind of that slapstick type humor, but it wasn't hitting on it.
Yeah.
So.
I don't remember which version, but there was one of the later ones where they relaunched it that I tried reading. I want to say Tom Fowler was the artist on that one. But
Tom Fowler sounds so familiar.
Yeah. But it just wasn't the same, like it didn't have that the writing like what Priest was doing with the chapter breaks. It wasn't jumping around in time. And it just didn't feel the same, And I don't know. I don't remember who wrote that one, but the humor just wasn't there for me either, really. I mean, it was kind of funny, but it wasn't on the same level,
So I can firmly say this is one of those situations where if it ain't broken, don't fix it. It's a format that worked. I think they should have just continued it, and I think people will jump right back on. And with that said, that concludes our Quantum and Woody review. And I actually really enjoyed being the fresh eyes on this. I loved it, guys. 2 thumbs up. Triple X.
Good. Triple X.
4 Vs. I don't know what else I could give it grade, but all good. I actually am going to continue reading. I'm going to try to finish through 32.
Good.
I'm very engaged. And so with that said, let's pivot to the second part of our show.
What's the second part, Carl?
Oh, the second part. You guys may know this individual. He is one of our esteemed guests in the past episode, Mr. Kevin Vanhook.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Kevin.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah. I woke up with a little bit of a scratchy throat, but other than that, I feel okay. So.
Oh, no. I hope you didn't get what I got.
Carl's been dying.
What did you get?
I just woke up. I literally woke up. I woke up Monday like you with a scratchy throat, little nasal stuff. Yeah. And then I went to a holiday get-together. Hopefully I didn't get anyone sick. I thought it was just allergies. And then I woke up Tuesday morning and I was like this, like just literally just frozen. Yeah. Like I can't get up. And I just canceled all my meetings and I literally just got up 2 hours ago for this.
Hopefully you're feeling better.
I'm okay. I'm probably 90%. My nose do kind of a little congested, but happy to see the guys. I miss Cav because I've been traveling so much this year and it's just been crazy. So Kevin, real quick, what's been happening since we last saw you on Valiant TLDR? Because the reason we're having you here today is you've been kind of doing a lot of posting on Facebook. So we thought
I had every now and then I decide to go through stuff and share it and realize that this is interesting to other people, and so I had a lot of photographs and I'd posted a batch of photographs from back in the day of the early Valiant guys, and 2 or 3 of them of the original guys were like, hey, we really should do like a Google Drive and share with each other and preserve this stuff. And I'm like, that's what I've been saying for a long time. So it's and I tend to be the guy that I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a pretty sentimental guy, so I keep stuff like that. And So that's what I've been doing. And then I've got a garage I've got a bunch of boxes of really good photocopies of things that I would like to get properly scanned and shared, because I've got like really nice photocopies of several pages of Barry's Archer and Armstrong stuff, and all kind, early Yvel Guichet's first work in the business on Eternal Warrior 4.
Woo. Oh my God, I love that book. What happened to that art? Who has it? I need that cover.
Dennis's cover. I don't know who has that piece. I never asked Dennis.
Please help me find that cover.
Yeah,
like you said. I mean, we're here. I mean, we got your photos. Thanks for this gallery. We thought you've been one of the guys that I often we may go lunch and talk business, but we'll probably spend like 3 minutes talking about business, and then the rest asking you about Valiant stories. Right?
It was a very big part of my life in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
But this is Bob and me in Austin at a charity bookstore signing we did for Philip Anderson, and so you probably have heard me tell the story personally, if not online. But Bob wore suits. Bob was a very fancy dressing guy, very sharp dressing guy, and when I first started working with him, we didn't really connect. And
really,
no, it's. I think that there was, nothing mean or anything or mean spirited, but I think he just kind of. I think he felt that I wanted to be there so that I could write and draw comics, where I was hired to be the production manager of the company. And of course, I wanted to do those things, but my focus really was, when I got there, on getting production in line. And I was kind of bemoaning this fact to Fred Pierce, and Fred said, and it's something I'd heard my mom say. Bob would kill me to hear this, but I'll say it anyway. He said, "Pet him a little." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, just kind of, kind of be extra nice or something." I said, "I'm always nice. I'm one of the nicest guys in here." And he said, "Well, maybe if you showed him that you're more like him." And so I actually asked him to help me go shop for some suits. And he lit up, and it was very sweet of him. And we first went to Barney's, and I'm like, I cannot in good conscience pay $750 for a suit in 1992. And it's a lot of money. and I was making okay money, but I was making okay money with a wife and 2 kids, and not writing and drawing books on the side yet or anything. And then he said, "Well, then I'll take you to this place I go to called DJ's." And DJ's had really nice suits, but they were more loud, a little more flashy, but they were also like $125. And so I bought several suits. And so Bob and I were the guys in suits. And when we would go to conventions and stuff, and I actually wore a suit. We both wore suits to work. And then it caught on in the sense that a lot of the staffers started wearing collared shirts and ties and stuff. And it was just kind of an interesting thing to me.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy, young man.
Bob's very good-looking guy. There definitely is or at least was a painting in an attic somewhere. So.
Is he like a ladies' man at the time too? Because you guys were getting a lot of attention back then.
Was he a ladies' man?
A ladies' man, yeah.
Well, he had girlfriends and wives at different points over the years that I knew. So if you've read Eternal Warrior, there's a character named Jillian Alcott. Girlfriends and wives at different times. So Jillian Alcott was a character that I wrote in Eternal Warrior, but I didn't create her. And then 2 years after I left Valiant, and sometime in the late 90s, I went to visit him, and he said, "Well, Jillian will be back here any minute." And I'm like, Jillian Alcott. We're back together again. I'm like, I never knew there was a Jillian Alcott. I thought that was just a comic book character we did in the Eternal Warrior. But that was based on a real woman, and a very sweet lady. They had been together a couple different times over the years.
That's pretty funny. Oh, wow. What's going on here?
So when I was drawing Bloodshot Zero, I like to use photo reference when I can. And so that was my trench coat. And Andrew Wendell, who ended up drawing Solar and inked a bunch of stuff for us, posed for reference for me for a couple of shots. You'll see a couple of those in here. So you see where, go back, please. See where it says Park Avenue?
Yeah.
So Valiant, it was like an L. And so we had Knob Row, which was the creative people, and they were called knobs because Bob or Jim, one, coined the term knobs, that they were almost there. They just needed like a little adjustment, like a knob, to make them better. And then the other angle was Park Avenue, which was the suits. And because I spoke both languages, my desk was at the corner of Knob Row and Park Avenue.
I love that.
Wow.
How fun was it, right, guys? Like to work.
It was fun.
Like,
yeah. I mean, there was always the stress of trying to get a book out on time or whatever, but it was fun. It was. I really enjoyed it.
So Noel, Jason, have you guys ever thought about like I guess if you're the reverse time, would you have worked in the comic book industry?
I can't imagine that happening. I mean, I would have liked to, sure, but I don't know. I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, about the same here.
But isn't there like a IT department too? Because you're in the IT world, right? Was there, Kevin, like an IT department, or was that totally outsourced?
Oh, that concept didn't exist yet, really.
I was gonna say,
yeah. The only IT there would have been was trying to figure out how to get my laptop to work, which was like one of the only computers in the office at the time. So at a certain point here, I assume we're going to look at some artwork as well. That artwork belongs to a guy who was an Apple employee, and he was our kind of unofficial IT advisor.
I think Kevin, I think I actually mentioned to the guys earlier. We'll try to get through all the photos today, but because we want to get this under an hour, we might do another, if you're open to it.
Yeah, whatever you need.
Original art TLDR episode where we actually talk about the original art and the stories around it, because I think there's something really cool there as well. But today we're putting a focus on the Office and Valiant days.
That's fine.
So were they working on that Solar issue? I see that's the Solar, one of the that's the Destroyer cover. I guess one of the Valiant Vision.
So not long after we did the Solar Destroyer run, within the year, Andrew Wendell took over penciling Solar. That's him there. Different hairstyle than he had when he was posing for me in those other photos, but that's the same guy. And not 100% sure who the lady is. I think that is CJ, who I never understood why her initials were CJ, because her name was Carla Rose Anastasio, but she colored, and I think that's who that is. Mike Barron. So we had an off-site meeting to discuss what eventually would become Chaos Effect and some other things, but this was just in order to where we could all just focus on this and not the regular daily grind. We went for 3 days up to the Hotel Pennsylvania, across from Penn Square, and the hotel had a long history of being associated with comics. Back in the 70s, that's where like Phil Seuling Con was held and stuff like that. But it was really only a few blocks from our office, and that's Mike Barron. Mike's famous for Nexus, and then he did Archer and Armstrong for us, and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think he did hardcore too, didn't he?
It's possible. It's entirely possible. I know Michelini started off doing hardcore.
Yeah, but Mike's got a lot more hair there.
Yes. It's these photos really are like over 30 years old.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's Jesse Berdinka. Jesse started off as an intern, became an editor, writer. He wrote some stuff for us as well. He was my editor on The Visitor, and working with me and Bernard. And Jesse left the comic industry, went to intern at Miramax and Dimension Films, and rose up to being a producer there, working with Harvey and Bob Weinstein.
Really?
And then he left the business completely. And last I heard, for a while he was building furniture, like custom stuff. And then from what I understand now, he works with some VR companies and does photography.
Wow. What a journey.
Yeah.
I love that you remember all these folks. I mean, Jason, are you familiar with these names at all?
Of course, Mike Barron and some of the other artists. I don't recognize that name.
Yeah, Jesse Berdinka. He did some stuff. What do we call it? He did a book called Geomancer.
Oh. Yeah, Rags Morales drew on that one.
Mm-hmm. And there's Rags. So that's Bob, Rags. I believe it's Bob Hall, but he's turned away a little bit. and then Fred Pierce.
Fred Pierce. Okay, I met Fred. Oh, this is the rye that was the Sun, right?
Mhm.
It's cool. That's a good
So that's
poster.
a signing somewhere.
Sick poster. Do you have this art, Jason?
No.
I don't.
You need this. Need this. So what's Rag's story? Did he come later, before you or after you?
No, while I was there. And he initially did stuff on Archer and Armstrong, and then he did a little bit of everything there. Really super talented guy, very sweet guy. And yeah, he he came on, as I said, and did what I remember him mostly for is A&A with Mike Barron.
Man, Bob is a good looking guy. This guy is like a, he's
Bob,
like a
Bob is a good looking guy.
yeah.
So that's Bob Hall and Don Perlin. So Bob Hall was known mostly for writing and drawing Shadow Man during that era.
Yeah.
And
He's
Don
too
Perlin,
active right now. He's hitting the cons. These
he
days.
is, yeah. Which
Yeah,
is funny. So Bob Hall is a playwright and director,
Oh, cool.
and lives in the Midwest. Went to college with drawing a blank on his name, but the guy that directed Star Trek 4, I think he did Time After Time and a bunch of different things. Anyway, he's pretty famous. Nicholas Meyer, thank you.
Okay.
And and just Bob's just a really well-rounded, smart guy, and I like his Valiant stuff. I think everything he's ever done was great, but I think the Valiant stuff is just heads and shoulders above it for me. He was just much more experimental. He the stuff like the Champion stuff at Marvel tended to be very kind of dogmatic and straightforward, and Shadow Man looked like, he was, the old line that we used to use about Bill Sienkiewicz is like he draws for people who don't take drugs, so that we experience that surreal imagery. And I don't think either of them did, but it's just he was just doing some really trippy stuff. And Don Perlin was co-created Bloodshot with me, but had done Werewolf by Night and Ghost Rider and just tons of stuff, Defenders, Transformers, all these things back long before I ever met him.
And Kevin, did you take all these photos, or these photos that
They're the bulk of these. It's split almost 50-50. So there's a lot of these, like this is taken by me, or at least with my camera, and then the stuff like where you saw shots of Jesse Berdinka, that was my friend Charles Lister. Charles and I went to high school together.
Wow.
And we reconnected later in life, and I brought him out to New York, and he became a production artist and worked in production at our studio.
And how old was Bob and Don at this point? Because
Don was like 63, and Bob was prematurely gray. So I'm guessing Bob Hall really is only like 40, 42 or something like that at that time.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Okay. 42. So he's I got 5 years on him.
Well, because I'm just looking at it. I don't know how old he is today, but I don't think he's more than 73 or 4 at the most. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I met Bob just in October at Baltimore. I got him to sign a Shadow Man page that I have.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's a very sweet guy. In 2019, we were both guests at a New York Comic Con, and I got to spend time with him, walk across town. He was invited to a Marvel party and didn't want to go, and I was like, let's just go over and stick our heads in anyway, and we did, and went and had dinner, and it's just a really nice time.
So according to the internet, Bob is 81 now.
Well, and he's older than I thought.
Yeah, he's active. He's still out and doing it. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Oh, they're there again.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no editing here, so you're just kind of seeing the photo dump. That's Catherine Bollinger making a Ninjak page. She's a very talented artist. I don't think she stayed in the business, but I don't know.
This is the one that Bob dated, right?
That's my understanding. Yes.
He mentioned that. Or did he just,
Yeah, no, I think I remember Bob mentioning that name.
Bob did mention. Yeah.
Yeah, he the dating part was before I got there. So, but yeah, when I was there, she was actually dating at one of our colorists named Mark Cesar.
So how many females worked in the office? And then does that then happen because maybe only a handful of females are in the office, all the guys end up hitting on them?
I can't speak to the latter, but as far as how many, that's Maria Bakari, who did Harbinger and did various. She was a colorist, worked on Unity and different things. Was the first one I knew of. Kat, we hired CJ. I don't know if you know who Jeff Gomez is, who's a creator editor, but his wife Chrysula ended up becoming a colorist. She learned how to color from my wife, who was a colorist. But my wife and I we developed some very early color separation techniques, and we worked in color from like '89, so several years before we got to Valiant. And she'd already colored the Rocky Horror Picture Show then. So, but there was maybe a half a dozen, something like that.
Oh, yeah, Cat's a cutie.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there you are.
That's me.
How old are you at this point?
27 or so. Yeah, I'd say about 27, maybe 28. That's my. I left it before I was 29. So, but yeah, it's a shame we don't have an angle spinning around here, because outside that window and past me is the Empire State Building, which is kind of neat to be able to see. We were 275 7th on the 14th floor, which was really the 13th floor, but it's New York.
Oh yeah.
And we had an unobstructed view of the Empire State Building.
Yeah, it took care of you. They gave you a nice office.
Yeah, I had a good office. They lots of paperwork, and as you can see, no computers. It just wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah, Carl, no IT department.
No, I didn't. You may be a kind of mailroom guy, maybe.
Maybe.
So that's Darren Sanchez. Darren went on to work at Marvel and Wizard, and still in the business. And he started off as an intern, and then when they wanted to make me an editor and no longer production manager, I needed to replace myself. And we initially replaced me with a guy who on paper had a very similar skill set, but his personality didn't jive with people. And so we brought in, Darren had been working there, and he was very smart, and he had already been doing some production work. And he came out of being in the military. He was a helicopter pilot in the Army. And he just really even-tempered, even-keeled guy, and understood deadlines and how to manage people. And so even though he was very young, we promoted him to production manager. And you can't tell it, but that behind him is Randy Brosen, who is also a production artist.
So what is the responsibility of a production artist? Are they fixing stuff on the pages, or?
Yeah, so back then you got to realize that we colored pages by hand with Dr. Martin dyes. And so we would take the original black and white art. We would make a high quality photocopy at printed size. And then that was retouched so that panel borders were clean. They didn't have little extra bits of line and so forth. That there wasn't any. Every now and then somebody would draw a head that was too big or too small, and so that would be what we call stat it up or stat it down. But we'd make a photocopy, and then cut that out and paste it down, and then add a little bit of inking lines to connect everything right. And then we lettered by hand on overlays, and that was so that we could print that in what we called a 5th color black, because back then we're dealing with real printer's negatives. So the color would be color separated into cyan, magenta, yellow, and black negatives, and then the lettering would be a 5th color black ink. And the reason we did that is so forward looking, with the idea that if we want to sell this to China or Italy or some other foreign language, we can just replace that 5th color negative. We don't have to replace all 4 negatives of the normal artwork. And so we also, Dr. Martin dyes, if you screw up or you overpaint and you want to take out a little bit of color that's off to the side, you could use bleach, literally like Clorox bleach.
It is an art form, dude. Like, it's crazy. Hearing you talk about it, you guys are doing art in a different way.
No, for sure. But that bleach thing to the eye would look great, but when you scanned it on a laser drum, it was literally an acrylic drum with a laser spinning around it, you would we would have to actually remove that. The bleach would show up on the yellow plate. So we would then take black opaque markers and retouch the negatives to do that. So there was such care taken that when I got there, I was blown away because I had already worked as art director for Innovation. I was very young, but I'd already been at Innovation. I'd been at Caliber Press, and we didn't do any of those things. And Valiant was really, really, in my opinion, professional about it because it really was modeled after Marvel's Bullpen. So because it was Jim and Bob and Don, and they just basically reconstructed what they'd experienced. So that's Darren again. And then the guy behind him is Scott Friedlander, who's another production artist. And at this point, you see we have a computer. And Chaos Effects there. So we started. I had flown to San Diego to press check Bloodshot #1's cover. And when while on the airplane, there was an ad to make your own font based on your handwriting. And I went back and talked to Bob, and I said, I think we could maybe try to do this with lettering. And so we made the first digital lettering fonts that we ever used at our company anyway, with Ken Bruzenak and Jose Albello. Actually, we would pay them a license. And so every time we used their font, they would get a couple dollars a page. And we created digital fonts. So, but at this point, we started using digital production. So those yellow envelopes are packets of those are individual colored pages
of Torah
of each book. So that might say Turok Hardcore.
That's Torah on top, yeah. Torah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying I don't know what the whole stack is, but each envelope was a batch of pages.
Oh, really? So these are all color pages?
Yep.
Wow.
That's a lot of pages.
There's a lot of pages. Well, at probably by this point, we were doing 18 books a month. So it's 18 times 22 pages adds up.
Stacks.
Darren again. The guy on the left is a guy named Ken Bell. And Ken was a production artist. He ended up coming out to San Diego, did some freelance for me, and then got on with Wildstorm in their art department.
Nice.
And was there for a while. I think that's Darren yet again.
Wow. So Darren was like in the mix of it all. He's a nice guy.
He was the production manager, so he was making sure that. So the last part of what I was describing to you is we would send the colored pages out to our color separator on Long Island. So somebody would ride a train out there and drop them off, and then go out and get the printable film. Yeah, that's Darren. And then I couldn't tell you. I see an assigned parking joke, but I don't know what else. And and then we would ship FedEx overnight on Tuesday night to Montreal, and so that they could on Friday night, so that they could go to press on Tuesday night and actually be in stores on Wednesday. So David, this is at the offsite. So this is David Michelini, Mark Moretti, Tony Bedard, and Joe Albello. Not Joe Albello, Joe St. Pierre, sorry.
Okay.
Which one is Joe St. Pierre?
The long-haired, that one.
Oh. He was quite the creator. I mean, he did the whole Secret Weapons thing.
Yeah, he did Secret Weapons. He what was interesting when I first got there, he was kind of a little bit on the outs with Jim, and then when Jim left, Bob gave him a shot to do more and more, and then I wrote Solar Man of the Atom 14 and 15 that had the Fred Bender story, and we got together and decided that he would become Dr. Eclipse in Secret Weapons, and John Hartz overheard us talking about it and got excited, and so he started leaking that news to retailers so that they would buy Solar 14 and 15, and so they could have the first appearance of Dr. Eclipse.
Nice.
That's cool.
So this is the Deathmate tour. So I did a couple of tours, but this one was with Rob and Jim Lee, and so that's Rob, Jim, me, Maurice Fontenot, and Joe St. Pierre. And this is in Indiana, and there's probably another picture in here. I don't know if it's going to show it in order, but there's another picture with the mascot from the store, which was she went by Lady Luna. So that's her. So this was
Can afford mascots.
it's a different time.
Man, how old are you guys? Like, what was that like? Any stories from this tour? Were you guys on a bus or like?
Yeah, we were on a bus. So Steve Mazarski was. So all of us are right around 27, and I think Rob's a year younger than me, but and Jim might be a year older than me, but we're right in that range. And the Maurice and Joe St. Pierre had gone to Kubert School, and that's how they got into Valiant, because they used to hire from Kubert. But we did a tour from, in this case, it started off in, let me get my head straight. I believe we started in southern Indiana, and then it ended at Chicago Comic Con, and Aerosmith was there, and Aerosmith appeared at our booth, and all of us got to go to a concert and had backstage passes. It's very cool. But yeah, it was Steve Mazarski had been the manager of the store, and he actually of the company, the publisher. He was our publisher and the manager of Aerosmith. And he had I took NyQuil, so sorry, but he still had these relationships. And Aerosmith was like, well, we've got an extra tour bus we're not using, and so we arranged this very rock star kind of thing, and we did. Multiple tours. So there was a West Coast tour, which I didn't do, but I think Casada and Palmiotti and some of those guys, maybe Mark Silvestri, but some of the other Image guys did. But it was fun.
I love Rob's rolled up shorts.
Hilarious. All the denim, maybe fresh off the Levi's commercial, maybe.
That's what I say. You got to remember that the 501 blues were a thing for him.
Yeah, his fly was probably fun. But yeah, behind Joe St. Pierre's head, I noticed that you zoomed in on that, Carl, is the Deathmate prologue book.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, I couldn't tell you if it was this store or not, but we had a store that had over 1,000 people waiting for us to sign.
How long did that signing take?
We stayed for hours. I have home video I can show you at some point. So Darren had a little boy while he was a kid, while he was production manager, and that's the little kid.
Man, it's crazy. Like it kind of looking at some of these photos, feels like a very legitimate, industry / office, something that could you could sustain family off of. I just don't feel like that's the story these days, unfortunately.
No, probably not. I mean, this was in New York. The company was funded with $3 million in venture capital. That's Don Perlin and me. $3 million in venture capital. I always said this was our mob shot, but it's just a too baby-faced mobster. But but by the time I got there, which is a couple years into it, that $3 million was pretty much gone.
Oh, wow.
And then, because initially they had done, the Nintendo licensed comics, the wrestling comics, and I wasn't there for that stuff. I mean, I know that it was biased towards doing those because Steve Mazarski had a relationship with Nintendo and the WWF people, Titan Sports. But they didn't really make money off of that stuff. They also had somebody involved who was running production who really wasn't a money guy, and so they were not negotiating the best deals. When Fred Pierce was brought in by the venture capitalist company as basically their employee inside the company, he turned that around and did a lot of really good negotiating and a lot of real good business stuff, and then he liked the company so much he stayed and left Triumph Capital to become an employee of Voyager Communications and Valiant.
Man, Fred is still there today. He's still in it.
So there's Don, Mark, Bob, and me. I don't know why I have that expression, but I do.
Someone must have said something.
Yeah, my guess is it would be the second guy there.
Is that your hat too?
Nope, I wasn't a hat guy.
Okay, because you have a purple thing going on, and
It's purple shirt. It is purple shirt.
Yeah, he has really dressed up back then. Very,
Yeah.
very. For, you don't see. That's guy.
So Bernard was 19. So that's Bernard Chang. And
That's hilarious.
he had already been. I don't remember if he was the water boy for the Miami Heat or what, but he had done stuff for the Miami Heat. And then I believe Bob discovered him at San Diego Comic-Con.
So he's always been a bit of a character, huh?
Yeah, always. I love Bernard. I don't get to see him very often. I see him at conventions from time to time.
Yeah, I see him pretty often. We do a few different kind of social groups together. So
Yeah.
dinners.
Well, I don't know if he's moved, but he had bought a place downtown, which really, really close to Dinesh's place.
Yeah, they're right down the street from each other, and
Yeah.
he has a place in Taiwan now too. So he has a girlfriend there, and he basically spends half the time in Taipei, which
I
is
saw he'd been posting stuff in overseas, so that makes sense.
over here. Yeah.
So Tony Bedard in the foreground, and then Fred Pierce.
Hey, Fred Pierce too. He's a kind of a sly guy, like venture cap looking. I'm all about the numbers.
Well, Fred was that was his job. He was the business guy, and very but loved the creative aspect of things, and loved being around creative people and so forth. Very supportive of me personally.
Yeah, I like Fred. Met him briefly at Baltimore the year before last, I believe.
There he is again.
Awesome, Fred.
Maurice, and I think that's Todd Britton, who's another artist we had, and then that's Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
You know Sean.
Yeah, we know Sean. Look at Sean. Look, cool window. You guys look out, and that's the city, huh?
Yeah, and again, just slightly to the left is the Empire State Building. But when I got there, what I thought was really cool was that these Frank Miller water towers are all outside of our windows.
It looks just like Daredevil.
Yeah, I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So.
Yeah.
So proximity-wise, where was Marvel? Where was DC? Were you guys all kind of on the same block, or were you guys?
No, not at all. DC right then was like 1375 Broadway or something like that, up near the David Letterman show, across the street from David Letterman. And Marvel, I believe at this point was, I want to say they were still on Madison Avenue. Like, I don't know if they were still at 575 Madison, but they were over on Madison Avenue. I did go to visit them a couple times, and we're on 7th Avenue between 27th and 28th. So we're right across from what they call FIT. So this is a production artist who's going over and checking a script. So he's probably doing some in-house lettering corrections.
No, this could have been you.
Say it again, please.
He was saying that could have been me.
With the same mischievous smile.
Yes, he does. Yeah, they called him Iago, but his name was Santiago Vasquez.
He's like, hey.
I have no idea who's making the gesture at us. On the far right is Mike Cavallero. So this is from the batch of photos I didn't take. This is taken by Charles Lister. But the far right there is Mike Cavallero, colorist, who does a lot of stuff still today.
I love seeing what's on the wall. Look at this. Right. What poster is this? Do you recognize this, Jason?
Yes, the Rye 1 cover with the flip book. Magnus.
That's the first book. Right?
Yeah, the Magnus.
Yeah.
So was Rye a big deal for you guys when you guys were creating Rye, since it was like the first kind of original character?
It wasn't a terribly successful book for us. No.
It wasn't. Wow.
No. Rye was unfortunately Rye and Shadow Man were two of the books that didn't take off immediately. And
I love Shadow Man.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. But and I don't know if you've heard me tell the story or not, but shortly before this photo was taken, I came in. We'd grown quite a bit. And Martin Stever, we knew him as Marty, we'd hired him from Capital City to do sales. And I come in from lunch, and there's a big meeting in the conference room, and I'm like, okay, why wasn't I told there's going to be a big meeting in the conference room? And so there's Bob and Fred Pierce and Steve Mazarski, our publisher, and Marty Stever, and maybe a couple more people. And I'm like, what's up? And I said, well, we're just talking about, we think we're going to cancel a couple books, Kev. It's like, why? He said, well, they don't sell as well as the others. I said, well,
Yeah.
there will always be something that doesn't sell as well as the others. That's how that works. And which two do you want to sell or cut? And he wanted to cut Archer and Armstrong and Shadow Man.
No.
And I said, I turned to Fred and I said, am I right that those both do somewhere around 85,000 copies a month right now? Yeah, it's about right. I said, and our break even is around 22,000 copies a month, right?
My gosh.
Yes. I said, okay. So those two books pay my salary, Marty's salary, maybe Fred's salary. Why do we want to cut them? We didn't cut them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting thought process because it was at a time period where, Bloodshot might have been doing 330,000 copies. So, and
That's so many by today's standards.
Oh, it's huge.
Oh my
Oh, you gotta
God.
realize that there was a point for almost a year where my combined circulation of just the books I wrote was almost 2 million copies a month. And it just is insane. And I understand a lot of that was speculator craziness and
Sure.
all the other stuff. I don't take credit for that. But I did tend to write the more commercial stuff. And but that didn't mean I didn't love the lesser commercial stuff. I thought I loved what Rags was doing on Archer and Armstrong. I loved what Bob Paul was doing on Shadow Man.
It's crazy to think like the whole Absolute Universe had a whole Hollywood Reporter article talking about how they sold like 8.2 million units of Absolute titles, and they're
Yeah.
like popping champagne bottles. But back then, you guys were doing well into the 20 millions.
It was a bizarre time.
Crazy times.
So.
All
So
right.
the guy on the far left is Paul Autio. Paul was an inker and a colorist. I've lost track with him, but just a really sweet guy. His nickname was Smokey because he could paint smoke really, really well. So Bob is giving an inking lesson. Yeah, it was a neat thing. So that I see Winston folks in the background, but. And I am drawing a blank on her name, but she was an inker as well and came in. She also penciled like one of the Time Walker storylines. So you've heard me say that Charles Lister took a lot of these photographs. That's Charles on the far right that you just passed over.
Right here.
Yeah. And
How often with these like inking exercises and like lessons?
he did them once a week or so.
Oh,
And then that's Robin Klein is the girl with the dark hair. She was an editor, an assistant editor. And that's Jade Mady. Jade was the original in-house letterer.
Hmm.
His nickname was the Kig, K-I-G, because he misspelled king in one of the books.
Get stuck, huh?
I love that.
But yeah, Jade's a brilliant musician. So this is my childhood best friend, this guy named James Perham. And James and I met when we were 12. We were kind of thought of ourselves as the two big brain chubby kids in school. And he loved comic books, and he came out and worked with me when I was at Innovation, and then at Valiant I brought him out to be on staff, and then he ended up eventually editing for Acclaim and being like the last man standing towards the end when there was like Unity 2000 and stuff like that. But he was the operations manager, so that's James again. James shared we had a 3-bedroom apartment that was split level that had like the equivalent of a 1-bedroom apartment upstairs, and the rest was downstairs, and he shared that with me and my family.
Nice. Did you
Great. He was a sweet guy.
remember how much you paid for it at the time?
Say it again, please.
Did you remember how much you paid for that apartment?
$17.50. So, and it was in Jersey City, but it was. I'll dig up some photos and show you. It was exposed brick on one side. It was inside the Dixon Mills pencil factory. It was a landmark. So it's Jesse Berdinka again. So you see those shelves, those little drawers. When I got there, there was just one big wooden shelf flat filing cabinet, and everything was shoved into that. And I said, we can do better than that. And so I tracked down these. They held 12 by 18 pieces of paper. And so we ended up being able to create something for each title with different drawers for script, pencils, inks, letters, colors. And it sounds silly, but it was just an enormous savior to us. And because I actually found crumpled Barry Windsor Smith artwork in that flat file, the wooden file.
Oh, wow.
Just killed me.
What do you mean crumble? Just like
like
wow, like that. That's
like it
sad.
was shoved in the back and something else pushed
I mean,
it.
Yeah, that's
Horrible.
That's
And
cool.
Yeah.
I also found 5 pages of Eternal Warrior that I was told by Bob was supposed to be for Eternal Warrior 1. And it's like, well, but this isn't in Eternal Warrior 1. And he said, yeah, we decided to do something else when we did Unity. I said, did we pay John Dixon for this? He said, yeah. I said, do you mind if I figure out a way to use it? Well, yeah, good luck. So if you read Eternal Warrior 5, there's a certain point where Bloodshot and the Eternal Warrior split up, and you see Eternal Warrior in a cab, and then he rips open the roof of a cab.
Sure.
And then they have a fight, and it gets back with Bloodshot. That's the 5 pages that was originally drawn for a different comic book.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's the way I looked at it. Is like, that means we're 5 pages ahead on Bloodshot 5 or Eternal Warrior 5. So,
nice.
That's the way to go. And
yeah,
this
and same artist was drawing the book, so he was the continuity is just right
Yeah,
there.
why not?
So,
I have no idea what the top right thing is, but it looks like an absolute joker.
that's our Valiant business cards. So that's turned sideways. So look at it. The top right hand side is the top of the page. That's Exo, a single figure of Exo.
Oh, it's XO. Okay. I see it. XO Zero.
Yeah,
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I see it. Okay.
So that's Jesse Berdinka and Jeff Gomez.
Are they arguing?
No, I think they're just talking. But at this point, they had done something we had never done before. They had cubicles. So when I left, we didn't have cubicles. It was all open. Jesse again.
FedEx?
Yeah, we used FedEx a lot.
Oh man, what was the FedEx bill like everywhere?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. I never saw it, but it was enormous. I'm sure because we would ship film to Montreal to.
Oh, wow.
Sin City. What's that got to do with Valiant here?
I think that whoever had that cubicle just really loved Sin City. So that's a guy named John Kelly. John's making a face there and crossing his eyes, but John is now lives in Paris and is a brilliant painter.
Oh wow.
Like incredibly good painter. But he was one of the production artists, and that's Darren walking through with his baby.
Yeah, apparently his baby never left the office.
Well, I think this might be the first time he visited the office. So.
That's funny.
Although somewhere I have pictures of my 2 little boys, my twins there. So Joe St. Pierre and Don Perlin posing with an Exo Zero. I think it's probably just the cover, not the book.
Mm.
So this was one of the first things we could do and fulfill the promise of full metal coverage edge to edge with chromium.
That's cool.
And not have to do an application.
Hooking us up with one of those as well.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
So same offsite. So that's Maurice Fontenot behind them. Maurice was a colorist and writer. Joe St. Pierre, Don Perlin. My guess is they're looking at a lunch menu, and that's Clifford Van Meter on the right. And Clifford was also somebody I'd worked with elsewhere and brought in, and he became our special projects manager. And then he worked for Topps afterwards, and then came out to California and worked for me. And we did a lot of stuff when I partnered with Apple to create some of the very early webisodes and web entertainment. Joe again. John Kelly and Randy. So these are production people. John Hartz, who's our brilliant genius marketing guy.
Nice.
John is, he really was, and I assume is. He fell off, he purposely kind of went off the grid and doesn't have contact with anybody hardly. So
Why?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know he was able to walk away from the Acclaim sale with a lot of money, and he bought some land in Ohio and said, so long. So I saw him maybe 6 months later and he came out to San Diego Con, and that's the last time I've seen him. But he's still in touch with a mutual friend named David Scroggie. Dave Scroggie was the editor-in-chief of Pacific Comics, and John worked for Pacific when he was young, and that's somebody we have in common. So I asked Dave about him from time to time. But John was brilliant. John was the guy behind every good idea we had in marketing stuff, from giving away Unity Zero and the sweepstakes and the coupons and all that kind of stuff. He also was behind the idea of doing 2 issues a month for Birthquake, which I disagreed with, and I don't think did very well for us. But almost everything he did was just brilliant. The gold logo program, all that stuff was his.
Great idea. Yeah.
Yep, that's John.
John.
So just the guys fooling around. So that's Jorge Gonzalez there with the long hair and the beard and mustache. But John, Jorge, Maurice, and Joe St. Pierre. This is leaving the end of the day of one of those offsite meetings. But Jorge also wrote and colored, was a brilliant artist. He's out here in animation now. Works at Warner Brothers.
Nice.
That's him. And as in as heterosexual way as I can, I always thought he was just a really pretty man. So Scott Friedlander on the right. That's a Russ Manning panel blow up from the original Magnus up top, and then that's Ken Bell working on the machine.
I am through having machines tell me what I can and cannot do.
Which makes sense.
How's it going?
So me and Bob Hall. That's my green vet jacket that goes with the purple shirt. So.
Yeah, a lot of suits.
Oh, they were a lot cheaper. So I mentioned that we went on this bus tour. So that's me and Howard Simpson on the right. Howard did Harbinger and a bunch of different things. And the guy in the middle is Derek, who was our bus driver. But he was affiliated with Mazarsky and Aerosmith and just told fascinating stories about like everything from celebrities doing way too many drugs to going to brothels in Holland and stuff like that. So it was a fascinating guy.
It was an endless stories. I like this too. Heroes Illustrated. Remember this?
Illustrated. It's a great magazine. So that's me waiting. It's Sean behind me, and then me waiting for a piece that I'm pretty sure I'm waiting for Maurice to finish, so we can send it off and get color separated.
Oh, so you spent a lot of time with the artist then, huh? You kind of sit next to them.
Oh, yeah.
At the airport.
Yeah, I mean, the whole room, my office is, my desk at this point was just down the way at the corner. And when Jim was let go, I ended up inking a lot of backgrounds on Ditko's Solar 14 and 15. And then my wife was a colorist, so we would go and arrange somebody to sit our kids, and then we would stay late and work on books and try to make sure that when Jim was let go, Mazarsky came over to me and said, "It's okay if we don't ship anything this week. People will understand." And I said, "I think that it's really, really important that we don't miss a ship day."
This is like evening. It looks like the lights are all down. Like, is this evening time?
That's my guess. Yeah, I commented on the same thing because this is lit with a flash, which is why it's closer to us. I don't know.
So the guys are working in the dark?
Well, that's what's weird because I just wonder if it's just an underexposed photograph.
Okay. I mean, this kid looked young right here. It looked like 12-year-old Sean.
12-year-old Sean. But it looks like his light's not on his desk. So
yeah, yeah. What are the child labor laws like back then?
Sean was also like 26 or 7 at the time, so because we're the same age, we're real close.
Well, I'll skip to this. Back here, okay.
Some reason it's in there twice. That's Charles, the guy who a lot of these photographs are taken with his camera.
Okay. And he's pasting all the lettering, right?
Yep, he's pasting up lettering onto acetate overlays.
Yeah, they definitely yellowed out the pages over the years.
Yeah, no, I have to admit that Andrew Wendell told us that we should be using archival rubber cement, and some of us said something to the effect of, "We've got pages that are like 5 years old that were done with the same stuff, and they look fine." Well, 5 years, yes, but 30 years, no.
Yeah.
So I've got a question, Kevin, on this. So some of the art and it's not continuity wise. So I was wondering if it was just left up to the person that was working on the book. So some of those will have the paste ups with the word bubbles and have the letters in them. Some will just be the paste ups for the word bubble without letters. And then I've even seen some that have the word bubbles drawn into and onto the page. So was it just left up to the artist as to who did what?
All right. So if you don't mind me saying it, we call them word balloons. So they instead of bubbles, but the word balloons initially were. I think in some of the very earliest stuff was done the traditional way that they were at like Marvel and DC, where they're drawn on the boards. Later it was a decision that it was more expeditious to have the lettering happening while it's being inked, and so that's why the policy became that we would paste the balloons onto the artwork. What was your third choice?
Well, so some were actually drawn into the deal. So like I have some pages XO where the chaos effect. So it's kind of later into that run, and they're actually drawn onto the page without the letters. It's just the word bubbles.
Any idea who, like what it was?
Yeah, I can tell you. But as far as like in my mind, if it was like a time wise, that would have made sense, as the evolution took place. But see, like I have a Deathmate page that has the word bubbles and the letters themselves on there.
That's because if it's more than likely the word balloons and the lettering was done by Image, and they did their stuff on the boards. As a rule, we did not. As a rule, we didn't balloon on the boards, although Barry insisted we do his that way.
So
yes, because I remember that Deathmate page, Jason, Barry sent it off to Image, and they finished it, and then Sean said he was at Barry's apartment when he pulled those pages out.
Oh, okay.
And so they were finished at Image. That's fine.
So the page
sense.
with the blank or empty ones are on XO 33. So Rick Levins and Catherine Bollinger worked on that.
Yeah, unusual. I mean, it's possible that since Kat was working in the office as an inker, and probably our letterer was working in the office as well, that it was just done. It was able to be done, or perhaps it was ahead of schedule. Because normally policy was the other way, that we did the balloons as paste ups on the black and white art. Lettering was always pasted up on the acetate because of that fifth color black language thing. So that's Jennifer Maldonado there with Mark and Bob.
What's this book here?
The Valiant Continuity Bible.
Oh, interesting.
So Cliff Van Meter, who Bob nicknamed Mr. Wizard. Bob liked nicknames. Cliff and our biggest fan, a guy named Seaborn Adamson, collaborated to create that. And it's a comb-bound book that says, Jeff the Geomancer. Jeff is a young boy and it just describes who he is and what he is and all that stuff. And then it would go through every character at that time in our universe.
Who has one of those? I want one of those.
I sold mine a long time ago. I know Bob sold his.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen one. Dan Moeller might have one. So Maurice and me, Maurice Fontenot. Maurice is a brilliant painter. So 1993 in the summer, a bunch of us decided to go on vacation together, and so we went to Miami. And I had a wife and two little kids, and Maurice and Jorge and my wife and kids and Bernard and his girlfriend at the time left here, and we went and did Disney World, and then everybody else went to the Key West so they could like jet ski and get drunk.
Nice.
So that was been John Hart. So this girl in the middle, the white girl in the middle, that's Julie. That was Bob's girlfriend at the time, and that's Bernard's mom. So she lived down there.
That's cool.
And I need to ask who the guy is, because I had remembered it wrong apparently for 30 years. Yeah, because I thought that was Sean's dad, but Sean says I never met his dad. So It's David Michelini,
Uh,
big Iron Man writer. He did rock and hardcore.
nice.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah, Venom, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Becky Perlin and Don Perlin and me. So Becky and Don.
Sideburns are here for this guy.
What's that?
He got some serious sideburns.
He does. Well, there's a great picture I saw the other day in an old Marvel calendar where he has like long hair, like Beatles hair.
Yeah.
So a guy named Rob Johnson, Rob lettered for us. There's one of the Shadow Man t-shirts. And
Dope
Cliff
shirt.
Van Meter. Cliff had fallen and broken a leg.
Oh no.
But yeah, Cliff's no longer with us. Rob actually lives in the Pacific Northwest and he manufactures like custom wallets. They're like really nice wallets.
So interesting. Adventures.
So that's Tom Ryder, who's an inker for us. Mike Leake, who did Exo Man War. They did that together. And I don't know anybody
Mike
else in the
Leake?
photo.
This?
That's the teddy bear looking guy right there's Mike. No, yeah, the one next to Tom. So in the middle of the green shirt. Yeah, that guy.
That's Mike Leake.
Yep. So Mike had done Robotech and some other stuff in the independent market, and then he did Exo for us.
Where's Mike now?
I don't know. I see him on Facebook every now and then, but it's mostly like wishing each other happy birthday kind of thing. I don't know what he's up to. You can ignore that one. All these photos are ones we've seen. So Scott Friedlander, John Hartz, and Bob Hall, and I don't know what they're looking at. It's a poster or something because that's a big piece with paste up lettering on an overlay.
That's cool. I like this cover. This one, I want
The
this.
Marines, yeah.
Who has this? Does someone have this?
Don't know. That's Jim Calafiore.
Yeah, California.
Jim and I had worked together at Caliber Press, and then somehow he met Bob, or I think separately, and got brought on. Sean.
Child labor again.
Yeah.
He's 12 years old, dude.
Well, what's so funny is he was like 7 years older than Bernard. But he looked so young. He was, and I think he had already studied like architecture and stuff by this point.
Yeah, he was a little. He told me he was like, he ever went to architectural school by the time he went.
A guy named Simon Eric. Simon, really bright guy. He and I got together and wanted to do 3D animation and stuff. We pulled our resources and bought some software. A year later, he bought Softimage, which was like a really high-end package. 2 months after that, he had Citibank as a client. He really rolled with it, and ended up building a big company in Texas to do high-end website design, and does a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, Simon Eric, Tony Bedard. Tony went on to DC, and he was with Billy out at doing She and stuff like that for a little while. Billy Tucci.
Oh wow.
So Don Perlin again, and that's Randy with the sort of afro hair. Don living the life.
I got this right here.
Yeah. Bloodshot 2, was it? So this is in my home. This is my editing bay at that time. So the first year I had moved to San Diego, everybody that came out for San Diego Con came to the house, and we had a big barbecue. So that's Bernard and Maurice and Sean. It's my ex-wife, Carol. And you've heard me talk about the guy that owned all the artwork. That's his wife, Carrie Lee.
Okay.
And the people behind the TV are Simon and his wife, Cherie.
I used to have a belt like this.
Say it again.
I used to have a belt like Bernard's wearing.
Oh, yeah. Raphael was his name. Rafi is what he went by. John Cebollero, Rodney Ramos, and Andy Kovalt. Rodney has inked a lot of stuff over the years. And Andy Kovalt is a background painter for Warner Brothers now for animation.
It's so cool to hear where everyone ended up. Oh,
yeah. I think Andrew was just saying that this is how I really ink. I do it all with my mouth.
That's a cool page. That's a cool shot as well.
And then that's Charles Lister, the guy whose camera we're taking the shot of the Twin Towers behind him.
Twin Towers, wow.
Yeah.
I think that wraps our photo segment. I mean,
yeah. So it was.
You did share, some of these art, but we'll save it for the next one.
Sure.
Man, how do you feel, Kevin? Like going through all this, quite nostalgic.
Oh, it's always fun to me. A lot of happy memories, and I enjoyed it. It's towards the end when I left. I think a lot of things went a little south, not because I left, but just the timing of the industry. And so I had left the company in June of '94, and then what I didn't have anything there to show you about is for the next couple of years, I produced a lot of. I had a small studio in San Diego, and we did Classics Illustrated restorations. So we did all the classics, little Classics Illustrated books, scan the original books, drop the color, touch up the inks, and re-letter it, and actually output film. And then I produced a Baywatch photo comic book for Acclaim for like 8 issues, which was trippy. And so literally made from like writing brand new stories from images from old episodes of Baywatch and having to go to the master tapes and try to find an image that kind of worked with what I was saying. Fortunately, they almost always wore the same outfits, so it was easier than it would be with like anything else. But yeah, it was a wild time. I love so many of those people. I'm still in touch. I just wished we've got a Facebook Messenger thread between a bunch of us, and I wish them all a Merry Christmas. And so it's nice to know they're still out there. And as I say, several of them are out here that have come out and worked in animation. When I was a vice president at Film Roman, the animation company, he had apparently been there for like 6 months, and I didn't know it. But Bill Dunn, who was one of our colorists, was there in the storyboard department on some of the stuff we were producing with Stan Lee. So, and then we did a Turok animated thing, and he ended up being involved in that, which I thought was funny because he'd been on the original comics. But yeah, it was, and people like Jimmy Palmiotti and Quesada obviously have had great careers, and Quesada and I are in touch every now and then. He's more and more wanting to be doing films, and so we've talked about me producing the visual effects for some of his projects and stuff. But I've known Joe since I actually went in to DC Comics with him and Joe Rubenstein when Joe introduced him to editors at DC to show them his stuff for the first time. And it's just coincidence that I happened to be tagging along that day, but that it was literally the first day he showed his stuff. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that concludes our episode. I mean, we had a bit of an extended show and tell this time with our special guest. So, folks, that was I hope you guys thought it was much of a treat as we did. Newell, Jason, any last closing words? And Kevin, we'll probably have you back to talk more about art.
Yeah, just let me know.
No, I mentioned to a couple of people that you were going to be coming on the show, Kevin, and they refer to you as, and I'm sure this is an affectionate term, a treasure trove of Valiant history. So the fact that after all these years removed that you can still remember all this stuff is something in of itself.
I appreciate it. No, it's I'm fortunate to have a good memory. Yeah,
I would not remember. Like at Lionsgate, I worked there 20 years ago. Like if you list all the people in the office, I would probably remember 5 names. And so,
no, as I say, it was a relatively short period of time, but it was a very impactful period.
Very impactful. It's great.
And it's just a great run. And because they like to say that it was, I was an overnight success, but I literally had been in the business for 10 years when I got there. Anyway, well, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right.
Pleasure.
And folks, thanks for tuning in. Wishing everyone happy holidays, and everyone please stay on so we can upload our footage. And we'll see you guys at the next Valiant TLDR.
Bye-bye.